Good morning and welcome to our daily devotional from Pilgrim Congregational Church. This is Patrick Horn. I'm very glad to have you join us this morning on this Tuesday morning, February 10th, 2026, and we're beginning another chapter in Matthew. And this is Matthew chapter 17 because this is Transfiguration Sunday coming up this Sunday. And so our passage is the passage of the account of the Transfiguration in Matthew chapter 17. So I'm going to read all 9 verses and offer a couple of general reflections and then close us with prayer. So Matthew 17, verses 1 through 9. 6 days later, Jesus took with him Peter and James and his brother John and led them up a high mountain by themselves. And he was transfigured before them, and his face shone like the sun, and his clothes became bright as light. Suddenly there appeared to them Moses and Elijah talking with him. Then Peter said to Jesus, "Lord, it is good for us to be here. If you wish, I will set up 3 tents here, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." While he was still speaking, suddenly a bright cloud overshadowed them, and a voice from the cloud said, "This is my Son, the beloved, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him." When the disciples heard this, they fell to the ground and were overcome by fear. But Jesus came and touched them, saying, "Get up and do not be afraid." And when they raised their eyes, they saw no one except Jesus himself alone. As they were coming down the mountain, Jesus ordered them, "Tell no one about the vision until after the Son of Man has been raised from the dead." Well, this is a really fascinating passage. A very strange passage in many respects, and one that I think also it's good to remember has been written down and as an account many years after it happened. And even in the account itself, we're told that these 3 disciples who witnessed it were told not to tell anyone until after the Son of Man had been raised from the dead. And of course, at the time, Peter, James, and John had no idea what he was talking about when he said, "After the Son of Man has been raised from the dead." He had been trying to tell them, but they were very confused about this, and only much later began to put the pieces together. But we've been talking a lot about Matthew's concern to show the continuation of the early church with the Old Testament law and prophets. Last week we had this explicit statement from Jesus that he did not come to abolish the law and the prophets, but to fulfill them. And here we get another passage which demonstrates, expresses this continuity with the law and the prophets, having Moses, of course, representing the law, Elijah representing the prophets, appearing with Jesus on this high mountain, and this experience of the presence of God, even the voice of God from a cloud. Although it's not identified, it clearly is who is speaking here. "This is my Son, the beloved." So you have explicit statements about the authority of Jesus, continuity with the law and the prophets, and this distinctiveness as God's Son, as the Anointed One, as the Christ, and the emphasis that Matthew is putting on both of these, that continuity with the Old Testament, but also that this is the new King who was promised, and this experience of the Transfiguration is one, I think, that reveals the uniqueness of Jesus. That is, this experience, I think, makes or expresses this idea of Jesus being one of a kind. And yet, this one of a kind is one who makes us all one with God. So, extraordinary story of the uniqueness of Jesus, the continuity with the law and the prophets, and being both the Son of God implied here and then explicitly the Son of Man. Let's close with this word of prayer from W.E. Orchard. O God, in whom we live and move and have our being, enable us to feel the strength that surrounds us, to follow the light that indwells us, and to avail ourselves of the wisdom that thou givest liberally to all who ask of thee. Give to us so great a love of truth that we may pass beyond all doubt and error until our minds are stayed on thee and our thoughts are kept in perfect peace. Give us wisdom to follow the promptings of duty in our daily lives, that we may grow conscious of thy presence, who workest all throughout our lives and calls us to be fellow workers now with thee. Grant unto us the grace of penitence, that we may not grow insensible to our need of forgiveness from one another and from thee, but seek cleansing in communion, fellowship in the light, and rest upon thy heart. Amen. Thank you for joining me this morning from Pilgrim Congregational Church. I'm Patrick Horn, and I hope that you have a very good day. Goodbye.